Hi folks, Pat here. Thanks for stopping by the channel. For today's adventure, we're going to stop by a local lake called Pine Lake. It's near my home, and I'm going to be fishing for spawning bass. And I have very little, at this point, I had very little experience fishing for spawning bass, and so I really have no idea what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know how to find a fish. I don't know anything about it. But all I know is if I see a fish, I can cast to it, maybe catch it. So keep that in mind as we move forward. Now, I've pedaled halfway around the lake, and I've seen a couple of beds, but there wasn't anything on them. So I wasn't sure what I was looking at, but I pulled into this small little cove, and there's this huge smallmouth sitting on a bed, and it's in between that dock. You can see the dock out in front of me there. It's in between that dock and the dock next to it. And I don't know how close I can get to this fish and still be able to cast to it. So you can see I'm off quite a ways casting to it, and I casted a Ned rig in there and slowly dragged it across the bed, and all of a sudden I felt this little twitch on the line, and so I thought, oh gee, I think it might be biting the bait, so I set the hook. Now, this is the first fish I've caught of any size this year, so I am just absolutely thrilled with catching this fish. I mean, I can't believe that I've actually caught a fish at this point. It's been miraculous. Oh boy.
You, lady, are a massive fish. Holy cow. I'm here for the largemouth, but I'll take you. Caught her off the bed. $18.25.
So now that I think that I know what I'm looking for, I'm going to start really paying attention to what I'm seeing as I pass between these docks, and I'm really trying to identify where the fish are bedding, what the substrate is that they're working with, what they like, sort of identify how I can find these beds more effectively in the future. And this is a dock that's like 3 or 4 docks down, and I pull in, and I'm looking pretty closely at the area in between the docks, and I don't see any particular logical bedding spots. But when I look down, I don't think you can see them in the water here, but there's 2 really large bass that are just sitting there watching me. And they just hung out around that dock for quite a while, swimming around in that general area. And I believe that they were staging, looking for a nest site, but I couldn't get them to bite on anything. But I did fish for them for quite a while and was unable to get any bites from these guys. Eventually, I got tired of fishing with those largemouths, and I came around this bay where I had come in because I didn't know what I was looking for when I came in. So I started reviewing what was in that area a lot more closely, and I found this bed about 20 feet, maybe 30 feet from the shore, and it was in about 4 feet of water, and you could see a nice bass sitting on it. And yeah, again, I threw a lure in there, and it bit it as soon as it came across its bed. I think in this case it was a wacky worm. Anyway, they were pretty much biting everything that I threw at them. So I believe that I was the first person in there fishing for them because they had no inhibitions whatsoever. They were very aggressive. I don't know if you guys noticed, but that fish was missing an eye on one side. And yeah, I know there's a joke in there. I only catch the fish that are half blind. But anyway, there is a rule on that. So if the side of the fish that you're photographing has a missing eye, you actually have to get a video of you releasing it so that everybody can see that the fish is alive and that you released it safely. And that video right there would suffice. So everybody could see the fish was perfectly healthy when he left. But this fish got disqualified, not because of that little rule, but because of the way that I'd shot the photograph. And so let's take a look at this reference material. So the image on the right, you can clearly see, this is from our rule book, where you're allowed to put your fingers or your hand and where you're not. And you see on the image on the left, which is the photo I had, my finger is exactly where it says it cannot be, which makes it a disqualification. Now the judge did call me and say, hey, you got another image so that we don't have to disqualify this. And I said, yeah, I got another image. And they're all exactly like that one. I took like 6 pictures with it, with my finger in that exact same spot. So this fish doesn't count. Disqualified. So that's a bit of a bummer, but the optimist in me says, that's okay. I will catch all 18 or larger inch fish between now and the end of the year, so this one doesn't matter. All right, moving right along. I left that bed and moved, 100 feet down the bank here, and next to this dock is a bed that has a really large smallmouth on it, probably bigger than the other one. And she was not locked into this bed at all. She was very flighty. Maybe she'd been caught a couple times. I don't know. But she was not locked into that bed at all. And there was another fish that I accidentally hooked from a bad cast, which is on another bed, which is on the left-hand side. There's a dock there. That fish was in there, and it came off, so I didn't catch that one, but that one was a much smaller fish. So I'm trying to catch this larger fish here, and she actually spooks and swims off and goes underneath the dock. So I pitched in underneath that dock, and I got a hit. Now, yeah, I know this fish is not very big, but one of the things that it illustrated to me, which, this is hello, a Captain Obvious moment, is the fish that are on the beds are not the only fish in the lake, and that you could possibly just be pitching underneath the docks and seeing what bites. So, that was a bit of an epiphany for me, that I needed to be cognizant of the fact that there's fish on beds, but there's lots of fish in the lake, and don't just get hyper focused on what you can see.
Well, we caught another fish. Not a very big one. It was under the dock, and it came out and hammered my wacky worm. And so, not very big, but I'm going to take a picture of him anyway. I'm going to try to anyway. He'll probably flop off before I get a picture of him. Put your tail down, dude. Put your tail down. Tail down. Keep your tail down. Alright. Don't be flopping now. Oh, God dang it.
You can tell this is early on in the season here. I haven't taken a lot of pictures because look at the mouth on that thing. It's deduction if the mouth is open, and I don't know if it could get any more open than that, and I didn't even notice. And, of course, my right pinky finger is probably over the line of where it's legal to have your fingers.
All right, it's good enough. I think you were like 12.5 inches.
So, that was all the fish that I caught for the day. 3 measurable fish is a pretty good day for me, typically. I'm getting better, but that's typically a pretty good day for me. And unfortunately, 2 of the fish were not photographed very well, but future Pat knows unequivocally that 12.5-inch fish has been culled, and it won't matter 1 iota. I still haven't called what would have been the 17 3/4-inch fish, but I have confidence that I will. Now, what I took away from this trip was that bed fishing can be really effective, don't get hyper fixated on it, but it can be very effective. And that I probably should come back here relatively soon, because the largemouths, which is why I came to get the largemouths, were not really on beds. They weren't locked on beds. It was all smallmouths that I was seeing. So I'm going to make a return trip, and there will be a video on that, and I'll share with you all of the fun, idiotic things I do on that trip. So thanks a lot for stopping by. Like, share, subscribe, all that fol de morale, and appreciate you. Thank you.